Welcome to Deep Dive Daily.
Oh, I forgot to change the intro music.
I was going to say it scared me because I'm used to the longer one for this. You know what? This is a daily show, though. Whatever. Let's not waste another 20 seconds on extra intro. Let's get right into
That's why we haven't been making our hour cutoffs.
Yes, exactly. This is what. Yeah, we're going 15 minutes over because of the extra 20 seconds, and now we've lost that time back to the void by talking about it. But those of you who saw the thumbnail or the title, we are on to the AFC West. We're trying to keep, as we normally do, some of the divisions that have a little more question marks, turmoil, stuff that we're going to have to figure out a little later in the preseason for late. And for the most part, I think we know who our four quarterbacks are here. I think we have a pretty good feeling on how these teams are going to head, or at least an opinion. So AFC West up next. We'll start with the Las Vegas Raiders as your fourth favorite, one of the top four teams to win this division. Pretty rough year last year, and it wasn't just being shitty. They had a lot of injuries too. I'd kind of forgotten how unlucky they were on top of a bad coaching hire and poor roster construction and just overall blunders in management. Nice stadium though.
Yeah, I mean their year was effed from Jump Street last year because they did not solve the quarterback problem. They went into the draft thinking, well, not six guys aren't going to go before we draft. And then they did. And so they were left with Brock Bowers, who in a year that didn't have a Jaden Daniels or Brian Thomas Jr. was your runaway rookie of the year as a tight end, which is wild. But, it was ultimately the saddest moment of all of the preseason was after the Raiders played their second preseason game and Antonio Pierce came out in the press conference after and he's like, I guess Gardner Minshew won the competition. This was when basically Gardner Minshew and Aidan O'Connell, both in the preseason game that had just ended, proved that they were not really ready to be the starting quarterbacks. And so, when your season starts like that, it doesn't really have a whole lot of upside. And 4-13 feels right. Ultimately, their expected win-loss was a little bit higher than that, but not by much. By the end of the year, I was giving their quarterback rating a 0.5. Did Aidan O'Connell? Did somebody else come in as the quarterback at the end of the year? Because that is a really low number.
I had a 0.
Desmond Ritter show. What? I don't remember why I had 0.5 at the end of the year for them, but it was bad. That was the problem. Antonio Pierce gets fired, and now, we're really deja vu all over again here. This feels like full on like Hollywood casting. Chip Kelly's back. Pete Carroll's back.
Yeah, it's weird.
Gino and Pete reunited and it feels so good. Like, this is crazy.
I want to say, was that Ritter? No, I'm still thinking about because I saw Ritter last year. I'm sure we saw some Ritter. O'Connell started
one game.
Ritter, I think Ritter came in, so Donald got banged up, and then O'Donnell maybe came back in, or they just ran the ball the rest of the day, which was like, hey, like I don't know who they had at running back even at that point. Like I remember they were excited, hey, at least Amir Abdullah's healthy, and then he wasn't. Like they were so thin last year. I won't say a lot about last year because it was just, hey, we have a superstar on defense. He's hurt. He's going to kind of play through it sometimes. He's just not going to be nearly as effective. We're going to have other injuries. Our secondary is absolute shite. That's going to make our what should be a decent pass rush worse. We have a couple of unicorns. You have a good tight end and a unicorn, and it's just not going to be enough because you don't have a running game. You don't have a offensive line that can run block or pass block. You went into the season, like you said, with really, really bad quarterback play. And it did stink because it felt like maybe they tried to move up and they just were shit out of luck in the draft. Decision here or there in 23 moved them to a spot where so many guys went in front of him. There wasn't like another quarterback to take. So it was bad luck on top of bad everything else. Like we said, bad roster construction, bad planning, bad coaching. And they still had some fun games, but it was just, you knew they, as the season went on and teams realized like this team can't run the ball. This team has one good receiver right now. And, basically the entire defense is starting to get injured, banged up, and able to pick on. It just went kind of from bad to worse. And yeah, the offseason was goofy. Pete Carroll's 73.
Well, I gotta read you some names.
Okay.
Did you know that like all of the characters that are involved in this story are fucking crazy? I cannot believe this list of characters. You bring in Tom Telesco as your GM, a guy who was correctly fired from the Chargers. He gives a couple of guys contracts last offseason that I don't think anyone else in the NFL was giving those guys those contracts. He's gone. You started out with Luke Getsy as your offensive coordinator. Aiden O'Connell couldn't learn the Luke Getsy language, so that's why he loses the starting QB job to Gardner Minshew, who was terrible. Luke Getsy ultimately gets fired, and you bring in Scott Turner. That's right. And Scott Turner brings his dad along, Norv Turner, who was a part of the brainchild there. Rick Scangarello was involved here as the quarterback's coach. You had some fingerprints of Mike Caldwell involved here as the linebackers and defensive run game coordinator. Marvin Lewis was involved here as your assistant head coach. Did you remember this? Marvin Lewis was involved?
I remember the Marvin Lewis thing.
What?
Where it's like
Joe Philbin, Andy.
I think
Joe
we talked
Philbin
about
was
that.
involved as the senior offensive assistant. Rob
I
Ryan
think we talked about this
as the senior
like,
defensive assistant.
No, we said this. It's like
characters?
they had a big number of guys that were former head coaches or coordinators, and it's like that should be a good thing. But then you read these names, and you're like, yeah,
the hell are they all doing here?
This is
This is like that terrible Sylvester Stallone movie where all the wash-ups are brought back into action for the Expendables. The Expendables. This was the coaching staff of the Raiders last year was the full-on Expendables. This is a hell of a cast of characters, and we're kind of doing Expendables 2 this year.
I was gonna say they made a sequel to that. We're doing it again.
Expendables 2.
Rocky 5 was so bad.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, so I want to give benefits of the doubt for some of this because Pete Carroll is a leader of men, and so I'm trying to put a fucking silver lining in this. It's hard. Centrum silver lining.
Yeah.
But he is 73. It is not a long-term plan. But the locker room and the culture and it's like, at a certain point, the inmates were running the prison. There wasn't a lot of veteran leadership. You bring in Tom Brady into the ownership group, and you bring in Pete Carroll. I mean, these guys should be able to
too.
I know, but these two guys should at least be able to get the culture figured out as they figure out what's the plan in like 3 years when Pete Carroll has to go to hospice. He's so old. And then Chip Kelly, I don't know if that's the plan. I think maybe it could be if Chip Kelly succeeds here, maybe he is the successor down the road. I put that at like 30-70. I know he's been good in spots, but even like last year, it's like, well, who wasn't going to be good with that receiver group? Sometimes you just have the skill position players. Shit works out. He does have a knowledge of a lot of different offenses, and I think he'll be able to adjust on the fly based on how it starts. Because it feels like with what you have on this team right now, his plan has to just be like, same as last year. Hey, let's take the best players and get them in a position to do well. This can't be some strict offense that we have to like peg, square peg round hole this hard. It has to be because I'm not getting a lot of clarity on exactly what the offense looks like. I know there's been quotes around, hey, we have 2 great tight ends. We didn't use a lot of 12 last year. Maybe we do that. Hey, we have what could be a breakout all-star Pro Bowl rookie running back if the offensive line and the scheme is right. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives for him. But yeah, it feels like this team does have a pretty wide berth or pretty wide distribution for me. Like, if a lot of things go right with Chip Kelly and they stay healthy, borderline playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
If things go how I think they'll go, not so much. Like,
I would be sincerely surprised if this is a playoff team.
I don't think playoff. I think borderline. Like, we're 4 weeks left. This team is
okay. Yeah, like the Thanksgiving, they're still like they're in the hunt. This is an in the hunt team.
This is an in the hunt.
This is an in the hunt team. Okay.
And this is I think it's the offensive line coach maybe as well as is a Carroll. There's a couple Carrolls. I mean, a lot of the issues that we had with this team that need to get sorted out are Pete Carroll fixes. Like, we need the secondary to sort itself out quickly. We need the offensive line to be sorted out quickly. And then I'm not wild about Geno Smith, who is 73 in quarterback years. But it's clearly an upgrade from last year. It's a huge upgrade from last year.
Yeah, they were 0.5, Andy.
Mine was a 0 at the end.
All right. All right, let's get a little bit more serious. They did not make their win total last year. It was 6.5. They only won 4. They did not.
Can you guess how many rushing yards per game they had
last year?
Yes, rushing yards per game.
I'm going to go with 50.
That's crazy. You can't go that low.
It was low. Like, they had a bunch of games where it was like 25, 30.
79.
That's very low.
It was dead last. It's dead last in the league.
Low.
Yeah.
Okay. The other kind of major thoughts, I guess, of process here. I'm kind of with Patrick. I'm not sure why there's an assumption of immediate competence now that Tom Brady's involved as a minority owner of this team. I did not get the sense that Brady was responsible for the choice of coach or quarterback. I think Brady was probably responsible for one thing, if anything, or at least influence one thing, if anything, which was the hiring of John Spytek as the new GM, bringing him from Tampa. Like, if you want to take one positive for the future of the Raiders out of this podcast, Spytek looks like he has a pulse.
I think that's my Brady. That's my Brady take. It's just what you said. It's like he was semi-instrumental in making that happen, and it looks like he's going to be better. But I think they know they're in such a weird spot right now that you weren't going to get a sniff from some of the good coaching candidates anyway. So
that's a fair point.
Like, hey, Ben Johnson, are we on your list? Like, no.
I think they handled the draft pretty rationally also. They didn't press. Right? They went out and got Geno as the answer to quarterback instead of being like, you know what? Like, we're starting a new regime, new coach, drafting our guy. We're going to develop him. Like, it would have been a reach to take a quarterback at 6. And instead of they correctly read the tea leaves. Tennessee's going to take the only guy that's worth taking, and we're going to we're going to find our solution elsewhere. And they went with Geno Smith, who had a thriving reinvention of his career under Pete Carroll. So maybe that looks like a good decision. Maybe. But you're right. He is old in quarterback years, although he didn't play as much in his younger years. So, tough to say.
I'm just saying it's not like some long-term plan.
Like, this doesn't have Matt Ryan on the Colts whiffs to me. This doesn't have Kirk Cousins on the Falcons whiffs, really, to me. Like,
but to be fair,
you're probably going to get exactly what we know Geno is. You're probably just going to get that. Right. I
don't think the highs of Geno have ever been as good as Matt Ryan or Kirk Cousins.
I don't either.
So that's where I'm. It's like, it's not. Oh, this guy is DOA because he's a 38-year-old Matt Ryan, and it's noodle arm, noodle leg, noodle brain at this point. But he was like
his physical skill set is not
like,
diminished. Yes.
Yeah, he's like 22nd in EPA last year. He wasn't good. I know that roster played parts of that, but he has a strong problem in the red zone right now. And I mean, he threw some just egregious interceptions in that spot. Still a nice deep ball. I mean, he had some good receivers around him too. That's, you can say like, oh, the line wasn't very good, and maybe the OC wasn't great. But at the same time, we do this thing with, I saw this argument today about Joe Burrow, because ESPN ranked him way, a little too high in their quarterback rankings. And people were like, well, he has those two receivers. You got to, like, if we're going to use that for everybody, got to kind of use that in Seattle too. And I thought we'd get more out of Geno just based on his receiver room. There were clearly mitigating issues, but I'm not like excited about this, but clearly it is a massive upgrade, which is crazy based on, this is where we're at with this team.
Should we talk Geno now or save it for quarterback rating? A little more in depth.
No, let's go a little more off season. I like what you said about not reaching. The next quarterback off the board was Dart. Some people are considering that a reach, and that was in the 20s. After that, it was Shador at like 40. So good on them.
Oh no, Shador went after Dylan Gabriel, man.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
There might have been a couple of the quarterbacks in there. Did Milroe go too? I think Milroe went.
Oh no, it's Shuck at 40. That's what I meant. Shuck at 40.
Yeah.
And then Gabriel, and then Shador was like 140. Excuse me. Not the same guy. Different guy. All right, off-season stuff though. Yeah, let's talk draft. Genty. Maybe it's a reach a few years ago, but I do think, I don't want to go into detail on this because I think we could talk about this for a whole hour, but the way teams have constructed defenses over the last few years and in the ever-evolving chess game of the NFL, been lighter. Hey, let's go lighter, faster linebackers, and let's go nickel all the time.
Yeah.
And guess what? Running backs they're never going to be all the way back like it's 1985, but they're back a little, and I'm fine with this because
no question.
This is a high chance lotto where it's like this guy might be, Adrian Peterson, hopefully just on the field and that. Awesome.
If your defense can stop the opposing offense with a light box, you have a schematic advantage that unlocks a much higher expected performance from your defense that day. And that was what set quarterback aside, that was the situation the Raiders found themselves in last year, as people could play light against them all they wanted. And then it was even more difficult for them to, it was even more difficult for an overmatched quarterback to do anything about it. Right. So it's probably a schematic game changer for them to have a guy with the talent that Genty has. I will note that I have in the back of my head a little birdie that's saying like, God damn it, he was heavily used in college. Like, this is not a young, fresh set of legs coming into the NFL. Like, he got usage galore. And if you're gonna ding anyone who has 400+ carries or whatever their next year in the NFL in terms of expectation, like, he didn't have 400, but considering where he was in his like maturity development arc, they ran him into the ground in Boise. And so I'm cautiously optimistic that he is going to be a game changer for them schematically, but boy, oh boy, if we are 4 weeks into the season and it looks like he's running in mud, we're going to revisit this conversation, I think.
So you said he didn't have how many touches?
How many did he have?
What was 397?
Oh, wow.
I was going to say he had like 350 carries through. It was a lot. To go along with 29 touchdowns on the ground, though. Nasty. Still, you're not ever being like, hey, this is our running back for the next 15 years. I'm not worried about what happens to this kid when he's 30 if I'm SpyTech. I want to get 5 good years out of him. And
sure,
it might, that might end up happening. The rest of the draft was a little less exciting, I guess. You got a couple of So I was going to say, you drafted a couple wide receivers, and they're probably going to have to play because wide receiver is very thin. So Jack Beck, TCU, 1,000-yard guy down there, but it's TCU, I guess. The other one, Dante Thornton.
He's listed on our lads as their starting X. Is that right?
Yeah, he was a 4th-round pick, fast as shit. I think he was one of the faster wide receivers. 4.340. Big play guy, and I guess it's fine when you have the tight ends you have. There's a lot of people in this draft that are going to play. Like their 3rd rounder, Darian Porter, Iowa State, another really fast guy. He kind of one of those. Everyone's saying like this is the perfect Pete Carroll guy. He's big. He was more. I feel like it's going to be a little struggling man to start, but he'll get there. And if he doesn't, they'll just move on, I guess. But he's starting. He's an outside. He's a 3rd round pick that is starting outside for sure because of what they have at defensive back right now. They got depth at guard with Caleb Rogers in the 3rd round. Some other guys. Tonka Hemingway, my favorite name for depth. And then I have a trivia question on their 6th rounder because I know you looked into this guy. I don't know how to say his name. JJ Pegues?
Sure. Pegues, you got it.
He is a 310-pound defensive tackle, going to be depth for the run stop. How many touchdowns did he score last year for Old Miss?
The way you asked that, I mean, my default would be 0. But the way you asked that, got to be 1 or 2.
7.
7? What did he play?
Yeah, apparently this guy was also a fridge thing where he was listed as a tight end as well. They put him in like goal line stuff. Yeah. I kind of want to see him. Ole Miss. Yeah, I kind of want to see this.
I didn't watch.
They decide. I haven't heard anything one way or the other if they're going to use him in that sense, but that's kind of fun. Thunder and Lightning with Genty and Pegues.
Yeah, I wonder if it's Pegues or if it's Pegway. What do you think?
Someone's gonna have to set us straight on that.
An Ole Miss diehard would know. They've heard the call. He scored 7 touchdowns. They've heard him call
for sure.
All right.
You lost Merrick, the safety. You got Hobbs, Jack Jones, Spillane. They got rid of the linebacker Chasen. A lot of the 2nd and 3rd level is gone. You replaced it with Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin's fine.
Dude, he can play all over. It's a lot of old defense guys.
Yeah, so that's the thing I'm struggling about. Jeremy Chin is probably going to be fine. He can move around, bigger guy. Eric Stokes has been injured and he's been sucky. And it's going to be Eric Stokes and this 3rd round rookie. And I know everyone has this. We're excited about this, but everyone's excited about everybody this time of year. You can't read anything and not be like, man, this kid, he's flashing in camp, look good in his pro day. And, everybody loves this kid. He's out there doing the work, but it's going to be
a
problem at, I think, secondary. And they just didn't do enough to.
Here's one thing I'll push back a little bit on that. Every year, I feel like I look at the Raiders cornerback depth chart and I'm like, what are they doing? And then it's a little better than I expected. So I think maybe there's like a Patrick Graham effect a bit in terms of what he's doing schematically to make up for these guys not being quite as good as they need to be at this level. So I'm not expecting like a 1 out of the coverage. I guess it could be that bad, but for whatever it's worth, Patrick Graham does seem to get a lot out of that unit. So does Pete. For that matter, you said it like what you're getting with bringing Pete in here is presumably like a surprise. Like, holy shit, this secondary is a lot better than we thought they were going to be because he coaches that unit up. Jermaine Pratt and Landon Roberts and Devin White as linebacker signings. You didn't want to make it just a full sweep of all of the million-year-old linebackers. You stopped at 3. Like you didn't want to kick the tires on Bobby Wagner, see if you could pry him out of the Commander's hands.
I don't think they could have.
This is an old second level. I have not heard full green light on the rehabilitation of Christian Wilkins. I think he's still in like a walking boot or something, which is spooky because you gave him a lot of money to be your second piece on that pass rush after Max Crosby. What was Max Crosby's injuries issues, by the way? Do you remember?
He had a couple. I thought
I know it was like all like
leg and
weird.
rib
It was
and-
all weird nagging stuff, right? It wasn't like there wasn't like a oh bam, like it was there wasn't an Aiden Hutchinson that his leg's broken.
So week 2, it was the ankle, and it was like a high ankle, and then I think there was like they scoped it where he had the surgery late in the year where he played through a bunch of it, and then it's like, all right, arthroscopic surgery, we got to do something here. So yeah, December 14th, they said season-ending ankle. We're doing a surgery. The injury to Wilkins was a Jones fracture, which somebody mentioned this too. I read this too. That's just like sometimes those don't heal well. They're slow healers, and yeah, it was kind of the news on him repeatedly was just this is taking longer than we thought. And I don't know what his health is going to be like looking coming into the season. I think Crosby's going to be fine. But yeah, those injuries sucked because that was supposed to be a strength. Didn't really do a lot on. There have been calls for they probably need one more pass rusher. I saw somebody make a case for signing Judon, which I don't know if that's like an exciting spot. Oh, nor I don't. Do I think
another old guy? Let's get him.
Well, yeah,
get him. Another guy is clearly fastest prime.
Also,
Let's go get him.
I don't think he'd want to be here at this point in his career. He's probably looking, hey, what if the Eagles need like one more guy? Or
I would
like,
imagine he says, "Give me, I'll take a check."
I don't know. He's been in the league for a while.
It's,
well, we'll see. But
in this space, I just want to mention one thing. Nice pick on Tyree Wilson.
Yeah, it's a good third guy to have there.
I
think
anything. Do something.
I think he's going to be fine. Again, it was just he didn't have the people around him to probably succeed. I think he's going to be fine as a rotational as your third DE. You re-signed Butler, fine. You re-signed Crosby or you extended Crosby for a shitload. I felt like there was one more DT. Most of it was through the draft, I think. They signed Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert for $2 million, whatever. That's your depth back. Alex Kappa, we haven't mentioned yet. That was a big signing, I guess. He's going to play. Nobody has great numbers on him, but there was some, injuries and issues around him.
My overall rating of the Spy Tech year one was literally like he got in, he did a good job evaluating that the cupboard was bare, and he did what he could. But I don't know that none of these deals are going to really hamstring you from developing what looks like a pretty decent class as far as draft goes. And none of these guys are, and they may raise your floor a little bit, having some like bona fide professionals in here. Like it would be pretty shocking if we are, sitting up and marveling at some sort of top 10 unit on either side of the ball halfway through the season, I think. Which is kind of where I'm at in terms of like how in the world are we getting to in the hunt even? I'm squinting. No, I'm squinting. Having a tough time seeing it.
It definitely has to be on the back of just, hey, the offense took a huge step forward and the pass rush was good.
Okay.
Good enough to cover up for a thin secondary, and we've had no injuries. And yeah, we're in the hunt and probably out of the hunt by about week 16.
Okay. Well, let's look at their schedule.
I think that covers the offseason.
As a reminder, I think you hit them all. Yeah, you got everything. Everybody that they discarded, they let walk out the door, I think was fine too. I don't think there was any minus really. Mooring maybe, but not really. Okay.
Mooring to Chan is lateral. It's fine.
Lateral.
Different players, but lateral.
Yeah. We are going to take a look at the schedule, try to find a spot to use them in Survivor ? Or against them in Survivor. As a reminder, we are sponsored by the great Circa Millions 7 and Survivor Pro Football Contests. Head out to the desert between now and Sunday, week 1. Get your entry in and play from anywhere. You can be enjoying this from the luxury of your couch in Southern California as the proxy gets your picks in week after week. And you can try to take us on because we will be playing. We will be competing for the millions. And biggest prize pool in sports, best contest in sports. Circus Survivor, thank you for sponsoring the Deep Dive NFL Preview Series. Tough schedule, Andy. Tough.
It's not easy. It's a tough schedule for a fourth place team. It's a tough division, and such is life. And basically every other team on the schedule is like team upside. Like New England, hey, they found their quarterback. There's upside. Chargers are, just tough. Washington, tough. Chicago's team upside. Indy, boy, I'm going to have struggled to say team upside there.
Yeah, you're going to get a win in October. You're going to get a win in October, I think.
You're going to get a win in October because you play Indy and you play Chicago at home and you play Tennessee early enough where I think he's still getting his feet under him.
You're probably taking 2 wins. You're probably taking 2 or 3 wins into your bye as a 2-5, 3-4 team. That's my read on this. Where things, and shit, man, your November is pretty soft too. We get to see you in hosting Dallas on Monday Night Football. That's fun. Your Thursday Night Football game is at Denver. That'll be interesting. Night spot at altitude in November could get interesting for a desert team. It's gonna be chilly that night probably. But your favorite against Tennessee, your favorite against Jacksonville, your favorite against Cleveland, favorite against the Giants. The Thanksgiving to Christmas stretch, I'm going to predict squarely takes them out of the hunt. That's nasty, man. That is nasty. Chargers, Denver, Philly, Houston, bang, 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 bang.
You need to
win.
You need to win like 2 games that you're not supposed to. Like the Denver game, you have to probably beat Houston.
I might count that's 4 of last year's playoff teams.
Yeah, it's
some of those teams could surprise and not be as good as we think.
Tough road to hoe.
Yeah, I think realistically, like squinting and saying things are good is this team gets to the bye 3-4. They win 3 of 4 with the Jacksonville, Dallas, Cleveland in that stretch, and then they're 6-4, and they think they're in the hunt before it turns into 6-8, and then maybe 7-8, and then maybe
7-10.
7-10. Yeah, probably. Right? I don't think we're being unfair.
There's upside, but again, the tough stretch at the end of the season. If they're playing well, that tough stretch doesn't look as tough, and who knows what injuries can happen between here and there. But yeah, if this is the team that we have on paper right now, below average at most spots, they're going to have a hell of a time in that spot. And they, a good point by Sam here. There's a lot of indoor games for Gino. I guess that helps, but at the same time, not seeing like some huge breakout from this wide receiver group.
Yeah, and, there are 6 early kickoffs on their schedule on the East Coast. That'll be good for the senior citizens on the defense. They get to have early bird dinner, no problem those Sundays. The general travel is positive. Weirdly, they have a lot of travel advantages where people are in difficult travel spots heading out to the desert to visit them. Their overall net rest disadvantage is pretty obvious and notable. They got to play the Chargers off the Chargers bye. They have Washington and KC with a decent amount of extra rest, and their bye gets neutralized because Jacksonville also is on bye week 8. So rest is against them. Travel is with them. Lots of early kickoffs. 2 cold games. Otherwise, a pretty unnotable situational schedule. I think the big question really is just the Washington. Do you use them against the Raiders week 3, or are you saving Washington? I think it's a pretty obvious spot to use the Chargers against the Raiders week 13. Yeah. I don't see anywhere on here where I'm dying to use the Raiders unless I have like 10 entries and then in the Survivor, and then maybe I'm using some Raiders week 6 against the rookie quarterback. in Tennessee or in Vegas, but with Tennessee coming to visit you, maybe get a little weird there.
Yeah, we already talked about it on a previous podcast. Washington kind of has a spot you're going to want to save them for.
Yeah.
Unless you think you can go against the grain there. So that's a tough spot to use them. Same thing with Kansas City. Like, there's better spots for that. It's a divisional game. The week heading into the bye. I don't know. Maybe that is a spot for Kansas City. Those Kansas City Raider games can get kind of weird sometimes. So I hate using Kansas City ever, as good as they've been over the past 5 years, because they play some just maddening games, especially in division at times. So, like you said, if you're going to use the Raiders, I guess the Tennessee spot is probably favorable. Maybe the Cleveland spot. That's another home game where, there's a good travel advantage. Nothing with rest, but it is Cleveland, and God knows what the quarterback situation looks like at that point. And then, like you mentioned, the Chargers off the bye at home. That's probably a good spot as well for them if you're playing against the Raiders.
Okay. In general, a lot of opportunity to take the points with the Raiders this year, and you're going to be talking yourself into, can the offense score enough to keep this one inside the number against a good quarterback, a good team? I can definitely see a try hard, fight, effort improvement overall from the Raiders, and which may make them feisty dogs in a lot of contests. In general, they were not a good bet on last year against the spread. They finished 7-10. They were only able to win or cover 5 times as an underdog. So pretty neutral over under team last year. So yeah, I mean, this is a team where if things start poorly for them, you're really going to want to sit up and take notice about the number of points you're getting against the likes of the Chicagos, the Indies, and the Tennessees. How many points are you getting against Jacksonville, Dallas, Cleveland? Right? Like if the market really, really sours on them, if they get beat opening weekend at New England, where there are 3-point dogs, surprisingly, and then Monday Night Football goes poorly, and then Washington hammers, you could have a team that's 0-3 where people are rating them like a -6, and they really probably should be something more like a -2 or -3. And so I think that's kind of that's my kind of betting outlook for the season for this Raiders squad. And I think maybe October, November, we might find a couple of weeks we're saying this is one of the bets of the week to take the points with the we ride the autumn wind.
Yeah, it'll be gross, but dogs cover all the time, Drew. That's what happens.
Surely. Let's break these guys, and let's start with a little bit of a conversation about Geno Smith. So Geno Smith's statistical profile over the last 3 years has been pretty static. He is squarely above the Mendoza line in terms of EPA per play among all quarterbacks. He is squarely far to the right in completion percentage over expectation, which tells you he is making very difficult tight window throws pretty regularly, and they're getting completed more often than you would think. And that checks out. The eye test, the tape, all of it kind of says the same thing, which is if you ask him to put a pinpoint pass on the sidelines, 20 yards down the field, 25 yards down the field, he will deliver that ball with perfect touch and into the waiting arms of a one DK Metcalf or similar. The most dangerous part of the field whenever the Seahawks offense was on the field, it felt like, was when they were at like the 30 or the 25. And you were just like, okay, here it comes. Here's the sideline shot. It's drop it in the bucket. Let's get a touchdown. Let's keep going. Like that was the kind of the spirit every time the Seahawks were out there. When they got inside the 10, it was a little squirrely. I always had a pretty negative opinion of him in the red zone. In terms of like, yes, a lot of throwaways, a lot of negative plays, took some sacks he didn't need to take. And I think when the field gets short in the checkdowns, all that stuff never really hit the high marks for me. The biggest issues for him was he played behind some pretty poor offensive lines. He's come to the pressure pretty frequently. And his escapability was low. His ability to create out of structure was pretty small. pretty unimpressive. To a degree, he was always working with some pretty talented pass catchers, which I wonder if how much that is kind of pushing his numbers up. In the EPA per play discussion, pretty comparable to the likes of the Derek Carrs of the world in the last 3 years, the Matt Staffords of the world in the last 3 years. It's kind of right in that window. What is your median and range of potential outcomes for how he will be viewed and rated as a quarterback in black?
Doesn't it feel just like it's going to be similar to last year? 20th.
Yeah, he has felt very low variance to me.
Yeah, there were the turnovers and some of the red zone problems, but truthfully, if you look, they were middle of the pack in red zone rate as far as scoring. They were able to score. They weren't able to get there as much as I thought. When I looked into this earlier, they were 30th in the league in red zone trips. It was like
Seattle.
I had Seattle, Chicago, and Cleveland
with
were
a
behind
pretty
them.
negative running game too. Like that running game could not get out of their own way last year.
2.5 trips per game, which a Detroit or a Washington was above 4. So they weren't getting into the red zone. They were stalling out. Kind of a decent offense, like you said, between the 30s, between the 40s. Like they'd have some nice plays. You'd have a nice sideline pass. Gino would make a nice longer pass, and then things would stall out. And man, I remember the Giants game. Like there was just some very frustrating performances from him. It's hard to say how much of that was the new scheme and the fact that, it was an OC that isn't even employed there this year. So we'll see how this works. We have very little idea exactly what the Chip Kelly offense is going to look like. And I think part of how we're going to have to shade Gino is just the fact that, Dante Thornton Jr. is your starting outside wide receiver and I don't think Trey Tucker is bad, but that's not great if that's your 2 and your 3. With another rookie, 2 more rookies sitting behind them on your secondary chart for if we can't figure out a way to make it a heavy Genty / tight end offense, I think it's going to be like, well, Geno sucks. And it's going to be shaded by the fact that we're looking at a weird fit for the offense and the offensive coordinator. So, like I said a couple times, big upgrade, still below average.
Yeah. Better than the 4th place team we did last week. Better than Russell Wilson. Better than whatever that poo-poo platter is at Gordon, the quarterback room. This is at least, this feels very middling to me, which is probably not good enough to get you to the playoffs with this many other holes on your roster. OC, you got any kind of report for me on what to expect out of Chip Kelly? Because I got to be honest with you. I didn't watch enough of the Ohio State system to really kind of know what his current identity is. The last time we saw this guy in the NFL was a flaming turd of an experience in San Francisco. Even
Philly, that was so like the damn every game. It got sickening to watch because they wouldn't shut up about it. But he's running so fast, we'll run a lot of plays. I get it. I get that's what he's going to do, guys. This is fine. It's not working out. Yeah, like you mentioned, the San Francisco thing was bad. God, what was it? UCLA? Was that a stop?
Yeah, he was the head coach there for many years.
That was. I don't watch enough college, or I think he also realizes from previous iterations of coaching in the NFL that you can't just take what you did at college and try to fit it into an NFL offense. So that's where I'm curious to see. A lot of people will say he does like to use tight ends, and so that's a good fit. More 12 personnel, more Meyer and Brock on the field at the same time. If that's the identity, and they can get more out of the offensive line based on what he's doing, what Carroll's doing, what other Carroll's doing, and Genty turns out all right, maybe we sit near a few weeks in being like, Chip Kelly's not doing that bad of a job. This is there's not a lot of huge names here, and he's doing okay. And I think a lot of it is going to be based on, hey, I just got to use my best players as much as possible. Like, it doesn't have to be some complicated system. Just get out there, put 2 tight ends in the field, and make them catch balls. Bowers had 1,200 yards last year on a horrible, horrible team. Like, why? That's super repeatable. You should have 1,500.
Okay. I wish I had a better read on what it's going to look like. You know, like, is it going to is good?
We leave these podcasts every week, every day, every time we do this. Maybe less so as we get closer to the season, but we always have that one big question that is going to inform what you're going to do with this team headed into the season. And I think that's going to be it. It's like figuring out if you can figure out what Chip Kelly's offense is going to look like based on camp stuff, reports from beat reporters, and anything you see in the preseason.
I think it's reasonable to assume that the lessons learned from his failure last time up will be obvious. I can't imagine in any way he repeats the mistakes of 2015, 2016. But I also don't know that if what he wants to do and what he had success with at the college level, particularly just last year, I don't know if that translates to the NFL with the skill disparity that exists for his Raiders team against the defenses they're going to face. And really, it's mostly the hardest number to come up with was not the quarterback OC number. That was pretty easy, just because I feel like you have a solid idea what you're getting at, like with Geno. It's not a mystery. The hard one is the skill because boy, oh boy, is it feast and famine here. What is your ultimate QBOC number?
I went with a 4.
4.
I think maybe I'm a little on the high side. I vacillated between 3.5 and 4. Geno's
I'm
good.
At 4.5.
I don't think he's league average. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so much of an incomplete grade on Chip Kelly.
He's going to be their 18th rated quarterback this year, or 17th or 19th.
Yeah.
No further away than that, though. All right. Like, that kind of feels right. I went 4.5, a little more favorable than you, but not by much. Skill group, again, feast and famine. What the hell do we do here? This wide receiver room stinks, Andy. It stinks. This tight end room, maybe the best in the NFL. Not the best, top 3. Running back room is better than last year, and I don't know, could be good. If your entire offense is 12 personnel, tight end targets, and Ashton Genty proving that he belongs in this league, then this might end up looking like a good skill group. But I do not. I'm not seeing the talent in the pass catching department outside of Brock Bowers.
I had a hard time making this like less than average, because when you have, at the end of the year, especially with where Kelsey's at in his career arc and some of the other options, you might have the best tight end in the league. You could make a case going into the season, this should be the best tight end in the league. You have a pretty good wide receiver 1 who probably struggles because wide receiver 2 and 3 are not going to get him much help as far as taking coverage off of him. And you likely have a star running back.
You're talking about Jacoby Myers, right?
Yes, I think Jacoby Myers is good. I think he's just fine.
He is the what ranked wide receiver 1 in the NFL?
Well, like 25?
Yeah.
He's still a wide receiver 1, though.
Okay.
It's like the Pirates of the Caribbean. You've still heard of me.
I'm number one. I'm a wide receiver 1, though. I am a wide receiver 1. Okay.
I think there are teams that go in to every year. We have like a handful of teams where like your wide receiver 1 is a wide receiver 2. Yeah. And I don't think that's the case here. He's a low end wide receiver 1. So it's like a 5, right? Because I don't know what to do with this number. Genty's a star.
I think
Brock Bowers is a star.
I think enough of Bowers to give them a 5.5.
Okay. I started this at a 6.
So I'm higher than you so far.
Yeah, I started this as a 6, and I slowly brought it down as I was just like, you play more than 3 receivers. You need your 4th receiver to play at times. You need your 5th receiver to contribute at times. Like, the fact that you don't have a receiver 2 or 3 at this point that I really trust it's pretty damning. And again, not knowing what the offense is going to look like, That makes it harder to judge. I'm willing to move this up quickly if the offense looks good because of how they're using the skill position group. But
Okay.
yeah, 5. Oh no, I wrote 5.5. Excuse me.
Okay. We're square. We're square on that.
Still lower than you.
Offensive line was very, very tricky. Kind of don't really know what this unit is going to look like either. I think Alex Kappa was a pretty good player for Cincinnati. I would have had him as the one guy on that offensive line you should hold on to. And so, of course, he walks. He has been pretty steadily available. He has missed one game in the last 5 years. He's only missed one start, and just consistently is giving you solid grading as the right guard. They're going to play him in his position at right guard. They're not trying to do anything special. JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson, the center, graded poorly for me last year, and now he's actually doing, I think you're asking him to do a little more. Dylan Parham graded poorly for me last year, so I feel like there's a pretty obvious weakness with those two guys in the middle. Colton Miller, fine, but I think people have a higher impression of him than he's warranted. He's probably like a top half left tackle in the NFL, but not top 10. And DJ Glaze is a big old unknown for me. So offensive line, I ended up skewing a little low on, and some of that may be that I feel like Gino is a little bit of he brings it upon himself a bit, and he might make this unit end up looking a little worse than they are, if that makes sense. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. Just like the fact that Gino can maybe drag down an offensive line at times. Yeah, DJ Glaze sounds. God, it's just a fun name,
DJ Glaze.
How we use that word now. In Vegas too, where at light tonight, DJ Glaze.
Glaze.
Kappa's solid. Kappa's 30. He's solid. So JPJ's grade, I wonder about this too. They played him at guard a bunch. He's a center. He's probably an okay guard, but he's a center. He won the damn whatever it's called, Remington. He was like the best center in college. He's a center, so he should play better at his natural position. And they were fine shit kicking the other center out of here. Trying to think of his name. He's with like the Chargers now. I think they just keep
Andre James.
Andre James, yes. So they're fine. Just hey, JPJ's the center. We're fine getting rid of him. I think it should be a better year for him. I don't really fully understand what the thought process on Dylan Parham is probably going to start over Jordan Meredith.
Okay.
Colton Miller's good. Colton Miller's been in the league for a while now too. It's below average though. It has to be because of, three of the positions are very much question marks. And one is, I think there's upside with JPJ, but three are question marks. So it's like a 4. This is a 4 for me.
I went 3.5. And I think I gave them a little bit of the demerit of Gino bringing them down a bit. All right. By the way, DJ Glaze, DJ Glaze, his given name, you want to guess? You want to guess what the D stands for?
Demarius.
Take a plane, take a train, take a car down to old Del Mar, Andy. Del Mar Glaze. Imagine having a name like Del Mar and electing to go DJ. Terrible decision by Mr.
Del Mar's a cool name. Oh, the Arts District. Lake Show is in there. What's the name of the place we ate at there? It's a woman's name.
Begins with an E.
Edith? That's not right.
That's
Edna's?
not it.
It's like an old woman's name.
Edith.
We'll think of it. If somebody knows of a restaurant.
Eclairs? No.
Esther's.
Esther's Kitchen.
Lake Show got it.
I
didn't get it.
He knew.
Very good place to eat if you're ever in the Arts District.
Very much a Golden Girls ish name. All right. You're at,
So that
I'm
leaves
at,
me with
you're,
the,
you're at
like,
4. I'm at 3.5. This is my 23rd ranked offense as we head into the NFL. And honestly, I feel like it's pretty, even though I'm with you, I'll be quick to adjust. I feel like this is a pretty narrow range. Defense, where are you for your defensive numeros?
So I had run stop at a pretty decent number. I'm not going to drop that a ton based on the health of the front. I think 5.5 is fine there.
Okay.
It was a decent run
It was a
stop
good
unit.
run defense last year. I thought
If
so
you
too.
look at the
top 15,
if you look at the pass
10.
block or pass rush, or excuse me, run stop win rates, I struggled to say those numbers. They're 12th. In fact, they were, even with all the injuries, they were 10th in pass rush win rate. So this was a good front. So 5.5 for me on that, above average. And then I gave him a 7 on pass rush.
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Sell me on this, because I'm at 4 on run stop, 5.5 on pass rush.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I went high on this defense. I thought this was a good defense. They were just constantly in terrible positions last year. Oh, we're losing by 1 billion again. Oh, we're playing a team with a good run game. Oh, we're playing another team with a really good offensive line.
Probably does affect that. Spillane was a good run stopper, but they replaced him with equally good, talented, old run stoppers. So it probably is going to be fine. I don't think it's going to be good though. What's the 7? How you get 7 for pass rush?
You probably have the best pass rusher in the league.
That's a reach.
I some of the other ones are getting old. Like TJ Watt is just right place, right time guy. Has a good guy on the other side.
Miles Garrett.
I'll put Parsons out of him. He's in the conversation for the best pass rusher, and I think a lot of this is just bias. From what we saw last year, where a lot of the games he played, he was basically playing with a sprained ankle. Not basically, he was. He was playing injured. We didn't see him at his best. At full health, he's a top 3 pass rusher.
Okay, I'm not gonna push back super hard on that. I will say, yeah, he started and played in 12 games last year, and he was the 2nd most valuable Raider after Brock Bowers. So pretty.
And he was hurt
for a 12-game contribution.
So yeah, Kuntz, Wilkins, Tyree Wilson as another guy. It should be a good pass rush.
I'm only going to give it
the only reason I think my number is fucked here, and I went too high, is because of my pass coverage number. I don't know if these two numbers jive. Can you have this good of a pass rush when you have that bad of a secondary? So my number might come down just because of where I put those two.
Their quarterback pressure rate last year was really surprisingly low, which is why I ultimately docked them. Even having a standout player like Crosby and getting to a limited, you got 12 games out of him, blah blah blah. I get it all. You're kind of in the dregs a little bit here. 31.5% QB pressure rate. You are giving quarterbacks a pretty meaningful amount of time to throw, and the actual production was not as high as I would have guessed. Sack percentage was 21st, so I went with 5.5 largely because I feel like for whatever reason, as a whole, having an elite player like Crosby doesn't bring the unit up much better than league average. So 5.5 for me.
Where's your Adam Butler number?
Let's see. Adam Butler is a plus player for me.
Yeah, I had him as a very good pass rush.
He's a plus
from the interior, and as well as a good run stopper. So keeping him and having health around him, I still think it's good. Maybe I'm a little high though.
Crosby's like a +3. Butler's a +1. There's not a lot of other plus players on this defense. That's the problem.
It's true. Yeah. Kuntz being gone and Wilkins, like all your best pass rushers are basically playing hurt or missing. So it should be a lot better, but I'm going to keep qualifying this. If the secondary can't cover anybody, maybe it won't
doesn't matter. Yeah. What is your coverage rank or your
2.5?
2.5 for me as well. Okay. I have them as the 23rd best defense. What is your intangible score? This is a tricky one because I know Pete Carroll is a rah-rah guy. He's going to bring, a level of professionalism to the team overall, but he also is a guy that thinks you need to run and pass 52 times to win a football game. And I don't know if it's going to have any other, inclinations to lean into the analytically smart things to do on a football field. So kind of want to be under 5 here. Where are you?
I just went with a straight 5.
Straight 5?
It balances out. He's a great leader of men. He should fix the culture. We shouldn't have any locker room issues. But at the same time, I'm not expecting him to be the Eagles when it comes to 4th down. So that docks him hard because he is one of the best leaders in the league. It's similar to he's a Mike Tomlin type where I don't know if he's going to bring something new and exciting to this team. In fact, I know he's not. But he's an excellent leader, and he keeps his team, motivated. I did read a couple articles about this, and there was somebody who'd said, it has a shelf life, which might be perfect because he's not coaching for 10 years here, where the people who, eventually got sick of it, it's only positive. All he is rah-rah positive. After after 4 or 5 years, players were just all right, we've heard everything this guy has to say. It's all the same. It's not motivating me anymore. And, a lot of his lore is based around finding those secondary pieces, putting that defense together and winning with that defense. And also, that one draft was just Russell Wilson was their 3rd pick in that draft. And I'm trying to think of the other 2 where
Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman or whatever. Something like that. All right. I'm at a 3.5, and I want it to be under 5, but I also there's a whiff of Expendables 2. There's a whiff of this could get weird. This is Vegas. There's he's 73. All right. I'm not trying to be ageist here, but if I end up
he's
needing to revisit this, I will.
Right.
What is
so?
It was
Bruce Irvin, Bobby Wagner, Bruce Irvin, Bobby Wagner, and then Russell Wilson. 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round.
Okay,
you could do a lot worse.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you have good drafts like that. You win Super Bowls, guys.
Week 1, Bobby Wagner versus Russell Wilson for the NFC East.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway,
special teams is a 6. Daniel Carlson had a down year.
6.
I still think he's good. The punter is above average for me. AJ Cole, and then whatever, Trey Tucker and whoever else. It's going to be a bunch of other, maybe this Tommy Mellett, maybe returning some kicks as well. It's average. So Daniel Carlson takes you up to a 6 because I think he's an excellent kicker.
Cool. All right. So my final number is a -2.07. Where are you for the Raiders?
-1.25.
Okay. So we got a little bit of a disagreement here.
We do. I'm
interesting. Not enough to really say that there's going to be any times where I want to bet against them and you want to bet on them. But I think the real key here is that we just have to remain clear-eyed while they go out and probably lose their first 3 games, that this is still a team that's not that far off of neutral. It's just not. And there's going to be a moment in the season where they're 0-3 and the market is rating them a -6. I kind of feel like that's where we're headed.
Yeah. I don't,
when it's time
I don't have the time to rewatch every single play of every single game. But there are certain teams, and I think this is one where this is going to be one of my first watches in the, the 30-minute NFL Plus rewatch of the games.
Patriots Raiders week 1 is going to be super, super interesting.
For at least the first 4 weeks, this is going to be one of my first rewatches because, like we said, we have massive question marks about how this defense is going to look, if the secondary is going to be strong enough to support a good pass rush, if the offense is going to be predicated around Bowers, or if they're going to try to force these young, inexperienced, or bad wide receivers to really carry the team. So it's going to be a big rewatch for me. And I do, before we go, I don't know if you had anything else on the Raiders. I was just going
to rattle off prices. 125 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. Feels about right. No, 64 to 1 to win the AFC. No, thank you. The AFC West price for the Raiders is 21 to 1. Whew.
I thought about it.
Big number, man.
It's like the kombucha girl.
It's not happening.
Nah.
No. It's a big number. This is the biggest number of a team that's kind of close to neutral. The problem is I just don't have a big enough bands around the Raiders to say that. What if they're good? You know, I don't think.
Yeah, I can't talk myself into. There's.
I don't think they'll be bad, but I don't think they're going to be good.
It's too many big question marks for me to be like, oh, they're all going to come up heads and things are going to go well.
Yeah, mix the playoff price. You want to guess what that is? Raiders to miss the playoffs, to fall out of the hunt, so to speak.
I don't know, minus 500,
minus 450. Very good guess. Yeah. So realistically, 80% chance that they are out of the mix, which is right because I feel like this is a 6 or 7 win team. Their regular season win total is 6.5. Juice to the over, minus 167 on the over. Whew, somebody went to town there. Wonder why. All right.
I mean, they have 5 very winnable games, and they always seem to win one dumb one. So
it's true.
And I think if you do like them, that's probably your bet is the win total over. So they take care of business against the bad teams. They have enough skill position players to make a good offense and outscore a couple teams on a week where, you play a team that's 5 points better than you and they have bad red zone luck and your offense plays well. You beat that team. You beat the Chargers. You beat the Broncos. They're not going 0-6 in the division.
If you're up against a good quarterback with decent protection, I kind of think you're fucked in comeback mode, right? Like this Raiders team could have a bunch of games where they're like taking leads into the fourth quarter, and the offensive line on the other side, if they are competent, the Raiders are just they're finding a way to lose.
Yeah, you're asking a third round rookie to maybe cover one of their top receivers in go time.
Like weird, they can't get off the field, and like if their pass rush is an advantage, though, maybe they do put away a team or two, right? But it's that the real kind of interesting ones are going to be like here's a good example, like Dallas Monday Night Football, middle of the season, like that offensive line isn't good enough, I don't think, to hold off a pass rush if it's healthy. If you have like a fourth quarter lead in that Dallas game, you're probably winning. Right. Meanwhile, like Denver has an elite offensive line. If you're up on Denver in the fourth quarter, living Denver, right? I mean, I'm not saying Bo Nix is. We'll get to Bo Nix this week, but I don't think your pass rush is good enough to beat Denver's O-line and force that unit off the field if they have to score to win. So you're probably losing to the Broncos, probably the Chargers too, probably the Chiefs too, probably losing 5 or 6 divisional games. Probably.
I'd say 5.
Okay. All right. Final thoughts?
We're gonna win one of those. I just wanted to touch on a good email I got.
Okay.
The other day, and I did answer him, but we didn't do as much of an explainer this year on our power ratings. We went through them heavily last year where I think we did a whole episode on, hey, here's how we're going to do these power ratings. Yeah. So honestly, maybe I'll find that podcast and repost it for anyone who wants to listen to a long explainer. But all these numbers, we gave them weight. A little bit too. We have changed the rules a little since, but we gave them weights, and he had the weights, but that doesn't get you to a power number. If you take all of our power numbers and you give them the 35%, it gives you a percentile. And honestly, it gives you what is a win percentage against a neutral team. Yes. So if we take these all and we average them in the case of the Raiders, my number comes out to somewhere like 45, 4.5.
Okay.
So it's a 45th percentile team. So it's against a neutral team, a 0. And the final step was what this listener had missed. It's converting that into a point spread, essentially, which is tough because point spreads are a little tricky in the NFL where you have very key numbers.
Oh yeah,
So,
for sure.
I mean, this part's maybe a little more art than science because I took a couple different conversions and just averaged them because you could go to different places and convert a win percentage or a money line into a spread, and it'd give you two different answers.
Yeah.
So I took a few different ways to do this and averaged it out and essentially just built a chart of this number equals this and this number equals this and filled in the blanks.
Yep.
So that has to come. This essentially is saying 45 percentile against a neutral team is X money line. And the money line is what? Plus, Jesus, I can't even do this right now.
Which that?
Convert that, you convert that into a money line. You convert the money line into a spread.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the right way to do it. And if you really want to get fancy, you are done with all of your teams. You shift it so that the median is 0.
Yeah. I don't remember if
you might want, you can do that on the front end or the back end. Doesn't matter.
I remember looking at that at the end of the year because we said, should we be doing that?
Should we be doing that?
Because we said that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think actually maybe I don't do that now that I'm saying that.
I think we opted not to.
I was arguing not
because
to.
We said there's
no reason.
There's clearly we should have more wins than there are.
Yeah.
Because there's clearly more bad that's going to happen than good. There's always going to be, hey, this quarterback surprise or this team's better, but there's no such thing as an opposite injury.
Right.
There's going to be quarterbacks that go down. There's going to be cluster injuries. More teams are going to fall than are going to rise. So you should almost always be starting. I feel like this is maybe
a little
opinion.
High.
A little
when
high.
Everybody's at fully healthy. Yeah, absolutely.
Your median should be high. Yes. Because it'll come down. And I kind of want to look at how mine progressed throughout the year now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was averaging like a 5, my average was like a 5.5 out of 10 ish on everything. But by the end of the year, my average was like a 4.5 out of 10 for everything, that's injury, it's attrition, it's tanking. It's all of the above, right? It's lopsided.
My average from last year was 4.93 at the end of the year.
At the end of the year. Okay. What was it at the beginning?
I got to pull up my week by week here.
I
only have it by power numbers. My average power number was 0.86, so I was above average.
My average was 0.53.
Yeah, my average power number dropped over 1.5 points. My from a 0.86 at start the season to a negative 0.7.
My average power number dropped from a 0.9 to a minus 0.1.
Yeah, even Patrick here in the chat, he says, I have 19 teams currently better than a 0.
Started with the good teams.
Yeah. Started with the fun ones.
Yeah. I mean, but it's a fun exercise because, you should look at, well, what does my distribution look like for the offensive line rankings? And if it's if it's out of whack, if it doesn't pass the smell test, then you've done something wrong. You want to try to be quantitatively honest to a degree. So, yeah.
But I think kind of last thing, if you're doing it every year, there are years where just the overall offensive line play is better. I don't think, again, you don't have to be shifting to the median on everything. If you feel like offensive line play is better this year than last year, it's fine if your average is higher than last year.
That's fair. Yeah.
Justify it though, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Is it Chargers or Broncos tomorrow?
Let me tell you.
Kind of just prep for everybody.
The odds to win.
We are.
The odds to win the AFC West are
Chiefs are Thursday.
Plus 362 and plus 321.
So Broncos tomorrow.
Broncos are 362. Chargers are 321.
Will you have those two power ratings flipped compared to the market?
Yes.
I was going to say that's spoiler alert from both of us. We should almost just do it in the opposite order.
I can tell you right now, my number 2 team in the AFC West is the Broncos.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Tuesday and Wednesday, but we will do the Broncos tomorrow. We'll catch you guys then. Thanks for listening.
Trying to find my media assets. There we go. I'll post the graphic for the Raiders in the Discord as always. Enjoy. Best of luck. Talk to you tomorrow.